Alright, well, we're back to working on the Kohler generator, the 10 kW with the Waukesha engine. And if you remember, this engine was stuck in the last video I made. And I was just mentioning that the bores looked in alright shape, no problems there. So I decided to pull the pan down. Now, first off, when I went to drain the oil out of the pan, I pulled the drain plug off and nothing came out. So I said, oh, that's funny, because I thought I remember seeing oil on the dipstick. So I pulled the dipstick and there was oil on it. So I stuck a screwdriver up through the drain hole and moved all the sludge out of the way and drained the little bit of oil out that was in there. It's pretty nasty. Probably never had an oil change. But so I figured I'll pull the pan down, get a look at the bottom end, and pretty much my worst fears have been realized on this engine. And I got some lower end problems there. You can see all the, I mean, this is the worst one, the number 2 cylinder, but all of the connecting rod bearings, lower bearings, well, they're all going to be shot for one thing. But you can see that number 1 and number 2 here are dry. So they got really hot, burned off all the oil. And you can see that the bearing has melted out. So I don't see any melting out of the bearing on number 1 or number 3 or number 4, but they're all going to be bad, obviously. So I was kind of hoping that it was just, you know, stuck from sitting. But when I wasn't able to just break it free with a bar on the front here, I figured something must be pretty seriously wrong. So yeah, if I had known it was going to be this serious, I would have definitely either not acquired this unit, or would have offered significantly less than what I did. Not that I paid very much for this to begin with, not very much over scrap price for sure, but still, it's, a pretty significant problem. So I'm going to pull this rod cap and we'll have a look at it. Hang on. Alrighty, well, after some persuasion, managed to push the piston and rod up off of the end cap, so let's pull her off. Well, I can't. There's the rod out of the way. Oh man. So that's the end cap. No bearing left. It's right there. Oh, that's horrible. Gotta be careful because this is all sharp. Yeah, it's completely welded all the way around. Let's see if I can peel it off. Oh, there it goes. Oh, that's bad. Oh, man. So there's bearing. That's pretty bad. Man, I haven't seen much worse than that, I'll tell you. That's nuts. Definitely was not expecting this inside this generator. Oh man. There's the main. Whew. God. Let me see if I can pop the rod out. Oh, there it goes. Alright. There's piston. Come on. Cast iron pistons. This is a real good quality engine, I'll say that. You can see the heat. Look at all the oil's just been burned right off of this lower end here. It's all still wet up here. Look at that. Sorry. There's an oil gallery that runs through this rod, and there's a jet up top, which cools the piston and lubricates the wrist pin. And that's just plugged with metal. That's pretty bad. Yeah, nice piston though. Look at that. This is heavy. 3 compression rings, 1 oil. Man. Well, so much for a just freeing it up and doing a little bit of cleaning. This thing needs to come all the way apart. 100%. It's going to be just like the air compressor. Got to tear it all the way down and pretty much rebuild it. Because to tell you right now, that's probably not going to just clean up with some Scotch-Brite. We'll see. Let's gonna look at that bearing. That's nuts. Now, I wonder. You have to wonder what kind of noise this must have made as this was happening. At least nobody was around when it happened. But then again, it wouldn't have happened if you didn't, if you changed the oil once in a while. This would be avoided. When I bought this thing, I pulled the dipstick to see if there's any water in there or anything. And there wasn't. Oil was black, but it was, it was in the operating range. But like I said, it was black. It was nasty oil. But I wouldn't have expected this. So, just goes to show you. I mean, this engine, I think they rate this engine at 21 horsepower at 1800 or at 1200 RPM. So it definitely had enough power behind it. As this thing started heating up and the friction was building, that governor just kept adding more fuel and it just tore itself to pieces. But that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to make power regardless. And of course, with a generator this old, and this small, for one thing, there's no safeties. There's no high temperature cutout. There's no low oil pressure shutdown. The only thing you have is a gauge. And if you're not there to either monitor that gauge or in earshot so you can actually hear the engine, you don't know what the deal is with it. You can't monitor it. So that's that. We'll come back to this one. I'd still like to use this generator. It would be a nice generator to have. Now I have another gen, it's very similar to this one, same engine, but it's got a 4 kW head on it instead of a 10 kW. But that one's all original, unlike this one, which has been messed with and modified. So I'd like to keep the all original one intact. We'll make this thing run again. It just might take a little longer. Alrighty, well, I continued on tearing down the old Kohler here. Just because I pulled that one rod off that you saw and still couldn't get the thing to turn. So, went and pulled the rest of them out. Number 2 and number 3 aren't that bad. Which one's this? Number 3, I think. Bearings are, they show wear, but nothing serious. That's not the shells off of this one. But number 1 here, that's in really bad shape, of course, just like number 2. Yeah, that's pretty well shot. Sheared a bolt off, a connecting rod bolt, trying to get it off. That's pretty well seized in there. Yep. Number 2, of course, you already saw that one. And got the mains down here. Pretty much what you'd expect, and not much better. See, nice melted bearings. Just devastation. Just devastated. I'm pretty upset with this. I didn't want this generator to be this kind of project. I knew it was stuck when I bought it. I thought it was going to be change the oil, pull the head off, clean up some rust in the cylinders, break it free, do the valves, get it running. I didn't want it to be this kind of project. But, you know, when you get stuff like this, you can never really tell when you're on site looking to buy it. You just have to take a risk with it. Yeah. I don't know if you can see this. The main, first main bearing is just, you know, it's discolored. Number 1 cylinder, number 2 cylinder, number 2 main. You know, just bad. Number 3, not that bad. And number 4, not that bad. But number 3 main, bad. So, like I didn't want to get into pulling this whole generator apart for this, but for right now, I know what I need. I know I'm going to need all new bearings. I'm going to hold off on the crankshaft right now. I don't think this can be saved by just some light cleanup. It would probably have to be ground. I don't want to do that. I'm not paying for that for this unit. You know, another option is to source another engine for parts, which is not out of the question if I can find one cheap enough. But for right now, I'm going to make a parts list. Everything that I need so far right now: bearings, rings, gaskets, seals. Send it down to the supplier in Philadelphia. Let them get a quote back to me on parts. See what that's going to cost. Then I'll get into pulling the crankshaft out, which of course means splitting the generator, which at this point, you know, we're already halfway there. All I gotta do is pull some bolts off. Pull, let's see, got 4 bolts here, release all the brushes, and I should be able to just put a sling around this thing, use a crane, lift her and slide her right out. Then I can pop the rotor off and pull the crankshaft out. So, and I can get that on the bench and really take a look at it. But that's where we're at with this one. It's probably going to be a while before you see it again, because you know, I got other projects that need attention. And this kind of got on my nerves, so I'm going to put it away for a while. Thanks for watching.